Let's learn how to draw with the pen tool, shall we? All right, so the pen tool, it's not the most user-friendly thing in the world, but it is the most versatile drawing tool in just about any program. It takes a little bit of getting used to. It doesn't behave the way we maybe expect a drawing tool to behave, but once you are introduced to it and get a little practice under your belt, it'll become second nature to you. You'll learn to understand it and make your peace with how it behaves, and then you'll really be able to draw almost anything that you want. The P key is the shortcut for the pen tool, and we're just going to go through a series of kind of step-by-steps here, kind of connect the dots things to help us learn how to do this. So I'm going to start here. I want to make sure that I'm on the right layer. Yes. And the pen tool looks like the nib of a pen, the cursor does. I'm just going to start by making a straight path. I'm going to click once to add my first anchor point, and the pen tool draws paths. They're made up of anchor points and paths in between those points. And the nice thing that Illustrator does is it kind of shows you where that path is going. So I get a little preview where it kind of snaps to my cursor wherever I move it, and then when I get it in place here at point B, I can click again to complete that path. So that's about it. Not very exciting, but I want to point this out to you. If I move on to point C here, I'm going to draw this next path from C to D. If I click on C, I didn't intend to do that. Until I tell Illustrator to stop drawing that path, it will continue to go. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. When you've finished drawing a line segment and you want to move on to another one, hold down the Command or Control key and click off of that path, and you'll see that the anchor points are no longer visible. So it's been deactivated, deselected. Okay? All right, now I can move on to point C, click an anchor point, click on point D to complete it. Now, I want to point this out to you. If you want to edit something as you're drawing it, you can temporarily get access to the Direct Select tool when you have the pen tool engaged. If you hold down the Command key, or again, Control on a PC, you'll get the white arrow, right? The Direct Select tool. This lets you edit the path, right? So I can hold down the Command key and move those anchor points around. Or I can hold down Command and click on the path itself and move both anchor points. Make sense? Okay, so again, I'm going to Command click off of that to deactivate it. And now I'll draw this series of points and paths. Okay, so I want to show you that, again, if you hold the Command key down, it gives you temporary access to the Direct Select tool. I can click and drag over both points to select them on the top and then move them. Now, likewise, I can click off of this and then click on one individual point. Or in fact, if I have all of those points selected, if I hold down the Command key and click one of them, it'll deselect the others and select just that one. Okay? Get the idea? So I can either select individual points or hold down Command and Shift and select multiple points. Right? Or I can, again, click and drag a selection window over a couple of points to move them simultaneously, right? So selecting things, it's really a matter of remembering the Command key or Control on a PC to give yourself access to that white arrow, the Direct Select tool, which allows you to edit a path. Okay, so Command click off of that to deselect it. All right, and so I can draw shapes this way, like when you get, around to the original point that you put down, you're going to see a little circle show up next to your cursor, and that means you're going to enclose a shape. Okay. Easy peasy. And I want you to notice that I'm not drawing with a fill, right? I've just got my stroke, set to 2 points with a blue color, and the fill is no fill, right? So I'm just drawing with like strokes right now instead of filled areas. So, all right, I'm going to jump over to another view here to drawing curved paths. This is a little more tricky, right? It involves handles now. And like if I were to click on point A and then click on point B, I'm getting it's a straight line, right? I don't get that curvy bit in between that I want. I have to, in this case, click that point A, and before I let go, I'm going to drag out from that point a handle, right? And you're going to see like a handle go in the direction where I want that path to continue, but I also get this equal and opposite handle down here. The nice thing about the pen tool, it kind of draws ahead, but also draws behind at the same time. More, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here in a minute. All right, so once again, I click at point A and drag a handle. I'm not letting go of the mouse button until now, right? And so this lets Illustrator know that I want to create a curve because I'm dragging a handle, and I want that curve to go upward, right? All right, so, and you can see a little preview, a little kind of rubber band kind of preview following my cursor around what that curve might look like. All right, so I'm going to come down to point B here. I'm going to click and drag, and you'll see again, I'm dragging downward because I want the path to continue downward, but I'm also watching behind, right, where that equal and opposite handle is finishing that first curve. See that? All right, so click, hold, and drag a handle to make the curve look, where you're going, because I want the curve to continue upwards, so I'm dragging upward, but I'm also watching behind to see that it completes that curve the way I want it. It's going to take a little practice, but you'll get it. Click, hold, and drag to create curves. All right, and now these handles, again, if I hold down the Command key or Control on a PC, I get the Direct Select tool. I can move those handles. Like if I click on this anchor point, I get access to its handles, and I can reposition them and change the behavior of the curve, right? I can also click on the path itself and move it, or the individual handles to fine-tune exactly the way I want it to look. Okay, so I'm going to Command click off of that. Here's E to F. Again, click, hold, and drag to make a curve going upward. And if I click on F and click upward again, I get this kind of S curve, right? So if you drag handles both going in the same direction consecutively, you get that kind of S curve look because, again, the pen tool wants to keep everything real nice and curvy. So in order to make the path continue upward through F, it has to dip down below it in order to continue up and keep things nice and curved. Okay? All right, and then finally here, let's draw a circle. Click, hold, and drag at G. Click it, drag down at H until I'm happy with that curve. And then back to G, again, click and drag until you see that curve do what you want it to do. Voila. Okay, so now the plot thickens. Sometimes you're drawing something and it's got curvy bits and straight bits and corners. So that's what we're going to focus on next. All right, so here at point A, I'm going to zoom in on this one a bit more. Here at point A, I'm going to click and drag because I know it's going to be curvy coming out of that point. Right? And so down at point B, I can click and drag and watch that curve until it gets the shape that I want. All right, so now if I go to point C here, you see how, again, that lead handle coming out of point B means that this next line segment is going to be curving down, which is not what I want here. Because if I go to C and drag like I want to, it's not giving me that corner that I want to have. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. After you draw point B here, what you can do is hold down the Option or Alt key, and that gives you access to the anchor point tool, like the convert tool. So what I can do is grab this handle while holding down Alt or Option and drag it up here. Right? Now I haven't done anything with the path. I just changed the direction of that lead handle. And so now you'll see it's coming to a point at B and curving upward now. So now I can click on point C and drag down to finish that curve the way I want. Make sense? Okay, so D to G, similar. Remember, Command click off to deselect the last path. All right, D to E is straight, so I don't have to do handles at all here. Just click on D, click on E, straight line. Now, E to F is curved. So what I'm going to do is click on that point, that last point at E, and drag a handle out from it, like so. So now I'm telling Illustrator, okay, I want you to curve upward. And so go to F, click and drag to finish that curve. Now, F to G, again, see how it wants to curve downwards. If I just clicked on G, it's going to not make that corner that I want. I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. Now what I need to do, instead of dragging a handle here, I just want to get rid of that lead handle by clicking the last anchor point. You see, I still have this, the preceding handle is still intact, but the one ahead has been removed. So now I can just go to point G and click straight line. Okay? So clicking the last anchor point that you drew will get rid of a handle so that it won't curve moving forward. Okay? Okay, so here's H through K, very similar. Straight line here. Click and drag a handle. Click on point J, drag downward to make that S curve. Click the lead anchor point to get rid of that handle ahead to make it a straight point. Okay, get the idea? All right, so editing paths. Right, if you have an existing path and you want to edit it, we've already talked about holding down the Command key that gives you access to those anchor points. But what if I want to add an anchor point here? Let me zoom in. Well, just with the pen tool, when you come over an existing path, a plus sign shows up, means you're about to add a new anchor point. And so then I can hold down Command or Control to get access to the editing direct select tool and move it up here. Okay, and so this is a corner and these are straight paths. If I want to convert them to a curve, again, I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key to get the anchor point tool and click and drag. Right? So Option gives you access to that anchor point tool that you can convert from corner to curve or from curve to corner. All right, so here's a path. Again, Command or Control, click it to activate it. So I can, once you see the anchor points, you know that it's been selected. In this case, I want to get rid of this anchor point. So I bring my pen tool over the top of that. With a little minus sign shows up, I know that I'm going to remove the anchor point. So you can edit as well as draw with the pen tool. Okay? Adding and subtracting anchor points. Now, here we're going to use the Convert Anchor Point tool. Like the anchor point tool allows me, like this outer star, it's all straight line corner points, right? If I hold down the Option key, I get the anchor point tool to convert from one type of corner to another, right? So this is a straight line corner. If I want to make that a curve now, I just hold down Option or Alt and click and drag in the direction that I want. In this case, clockwise. If I do counterclockwise, right, I get a loop, which is not what I want here. So Option or Alt, click and drag to convert corner to curve. Or on this one inside this flower shape, I just want to take all these outside anchors and convert them to straight corners. So again, this time I don't have to drag, I just Option or Alt click an anchor point to convert it from curve to straight. Get the idea? There you go. So the practical side of this, like here's an old vacuum tube that I thought might be good to practice tracing. So the practical side of this thing is like once you learn how to use it, you can draw just about anything. So I'm gonna, a good piece of advice is to like zoom in so you can see what you're doing and start on a predictable kind of straight area or broad curve. I'm going to start on this side here. And that's a straight line. So I'm going to click right up here to where it starts to curve. Let me zoom in again here. All right, so now I'm going to move, say, a little ways over, click and drag. Kind of in the direction that the path wants to continue. See my lead handle I'm dragging and keeping it kind of in line with where the edge of the object is. And then I'm watching back here to make sure that these, are doing what they are supposed to do. So again, get in close so you can see what you're doing. I'm about halfway on that curve now up here. The more predictable, more, smooth the line you're trying to create is, you can set your anchor points farther apart. Now, one thing you don't want to do, like, if you don't want these handles to do this sword fighting thing, right? Because that's going to be ugly. So always make sure as you're drawing this thing that you, as you click and drag those handles, that they don't overlap each other. Usually if they overlap, it's going to not be a very good drawing when you're all said and done. So watch that. Okay, so now I'm on a straightaway here. All right, I'm going to zoom out. I can come all the way down here. Straight line, right? Okay. Once again, zoom in so you can see what you're doing. And if you need to, again, hold down the Command key to edit a little bit as you're working. Okay, so this is a curve now. So I'm going to click, well, let's say that's pretty much like straight here. So I'm just going to click there. But now this curve, so I'm going to move, say, to the middle of that curve and click and drag. All right. And now this is straight. So if you wanted to, again, you can edit this a bit by holding down the Command key or Control on a PC until you get that curve looking the way that you want. If you didn't hit it, hit the nail right on the head the first time, you can edit a little bit. So now I can jump down here, because this is nice and straight, to right before where that curve continues. Again, zoom in so you can see what you're doing. Oops. So there we go. Sure, I accidentally hit the wrong key. So back to the pen tool, make sure that you click on that lead anchor point, make sure it's active. Click and drag to make a curve. This is all a very gradual curve down here. Click and drag to complete it. Again, Command to edit a little bit on the fly. Okay, so now this is a curve that comes to a point here. So I'm going to click that lead anchor point to get rid of that lead handle. And now these are all going to be straight. So I'm just clicking from point to point to point. All right, this curve, so if I wanted to, I could click and drag a handle out from that point to let Illustrator know now I'm curving things again. Okay, so again, this is a straightaway. I can just click. All right, so again, watch those handles so that they're not sword fighting there. I'm going to click right there to get rid of that lead handle because I'm going from curved to straight to finish up. There you go. So get a couple of simple photographs, put them on their own layer. Like, I want you to notice that I've been drawing on this, like there's a layer with a photograph on it, and I've taken that photograph, gone to the menu and chosen template, right? That will lock it and kind of screen it back so you can see what you're doing a little better over the top of it. And then I've created a second layer just for drawing. Okay, so there you have it. The pen tool, it's going to be your best friend. It'll take a little practice, but don't give up. It is that important. Just about every piece of graphic software on the planet uses this tool. And, you know, once you've made it your friend, you're going to do great things. Okay, good luck.